In this video, we're going to do some fun parts with ChartJS. So basically, it's more a ChartJS exercise. The goal here is to give you a better understanding with ChartJS and how you can add up items, remove items, play around with items on a chart. And this is extremely useful if you want to control, add, or adjust items on a current existing chart. So let's start and explore. To do this, I have a basic bootstrap design, which I will not pay too much attention on. You can use any design you want. Most important will be eventually how we connect ChartJS with our design, or basically putting in the canvas ID here. So this is just a slightly beginner slash intermediate video basically. Alright, so we have here I have here a canvas ID with my chart, but I'm missing still the ChartJS library here, or the JavaScript library of ChartJS. And of course, we're missing here our basic JavaScript that connects the ChartJS. Alright, to do this, we just go to ChartJS here, and if you're on chartjs.org, in here you just click on Get Started, and then what we need to do is we just get a basic layout here. This layout is fine. This is a bar chart. I prefer usually to work with a line chart, and you can do anything you want. I guess, but I would say get the line chart. We're going to copy this, we convert it to a line chart, and then we'll be done. So I just copy this, and I already have this item here, which is the ID. As you can see here, we already have that one, the canvas ID. So what I'm going to do here is, first of all, let's add up this. All right, and I'll do some indentations. Next, get the JavaScript library for ChartJS. If you can search here, getting started, probably it's in here. There you are. You can see here, this is the basic item. There you are. Put it in here. Make sure that the library is always first before we load the JavaScript item for the ChartJS. Alright, to change this to a line, we just put in here line. And next, I'm going to remove all the excess here for now. So we don't need all of this. And there we are. Once we save this, we can go back here, refresh, and you can see here now we have the ChartJS, or the line chart in ChartJS. Alright, so what I really want to do is to explore here the items. Can we, instead of looking at codes, we rewrite or write a code where we can show console based on what we see here? Yes, so what I mean, for example, this. Let's say you want to get a specific item out of here. To get this, for example, this item here, which is labeled as blue, and the value is 19. Can we get this value and extract that value and put it, for example, in a paragraph? So I'm going to put a paragraph here. And this paragraph, make sure that I will put on the HR as well. We're given ID, or class, sorry, we give it an ID. And we say here, any class, we can say value chart. I have no idea what, I'm just making it up as I go, and so this will be test. So right now we have just a basic word. What you want to do is we want to extract items in here, put it in here, and see what happens. At least this is a very good exercise, so you can read how the code is being converted to a chart. But if you can understand how that's being converted, can you also read a chart and convert it back into code? So basically, we're doing the upside down way. Very useful to have better understanding of coding. Alright, and this is just a simple practice. So we can say here, the first thing we will do here is a value chart. This will be a constant value chart, and this value chart will have the following. We'll say that this is, of course, our document.get element by ID, and then in here we'll just select here our ID name value chart. So once we have this here, and then we can say here value chart dot inner text equals, so basically we're going to show or display the text in here. This is new chart info. Alright, if we save this, you will see that this will be adjusted. Alright, that's fine. What we're going to do now is, instead of new chart info, we want to get these item values here. So how can we do this? Well, basically, to understand this, we have to look here the structure of a chart. You see here my chart. So if you want the item in here, then all you do is you look at certain values. So yeah, my chart, then we go into data sets, and let's say here we want this value here. This is the second element, means index number 1. Alright? Because this is the index 0, which is the first element in the array. So you can see that here as well. So that's what we're going to do. So we say here my chart. Let's adjust this, my chart, and then dot data sets. And then here, which element we want? We want the second element, which is index number 1. Alright, so just to make sure, we have my chart data sets. This is an array, so this is the first index as well. Sorry, this is the first element, which is index 0. Just to make sure here. Oh, wait, sorry, I have a mistake here. This should be index 0. Sorry. And then dot data, which data element we want. We want the second element, which is the first index. So once we did this, and we save it, you will see now we get the value that we want, which is number 19. So if we want to have the 5th number, or number 5 here on green, all we have to do is you have to count which index number this is. This is the 4th element, and this is element 1, which is 0, 1, 2, 3. So the 4th element equals the 3rd index, because 0 it's the 0-based counting. Alright? So we have this here, so we can change this now to index 3. Alright, save that, refresh, and now we have number 5. Number 5 is here. Same part that we can do as well with index of a data set. We can do with the labels here. For example, we want this label now. This is labels. So if we look here back, we go here to data and then labels. Alright, so what we can do here is we can adjust this, and then we just say here, I only want the labels. We save this. Once we save this, refresh, and now we get green. So this is how we can do it. Let's play a bit more. What can we do more? Well, maybe you want to say, well, I want to change labels. Labels is not really what we want here. We want to update this. But what do we want to update that for? Well, we can make a new update. We say just a update in chart. So we say my chart, which is the chart that we want to update. This is the variable, or let's say this is the constant. It should be constant here. This is a constant, and this constant, my chart, should be updated. We say update. Alright, so we update here. So what do we update exactly now? Let's say here we have this one is green, but now what we want to do is we want to change that to black. Let's give another color black. I'm just making up some colors. So alright, so let's copy that. So what we'll do now is we're going to copy this, put in here. And then we say here equals black. And what happened now is we will start to change the label number. If we refresh, you can see here, and let me explain you very clearly what happens. You can see now what happened is this has become updated to black, but this is green. So why is this green and this is black? Well, you might say, well, maybe this needs to be updated together. Well, it depends on the order. Let's be very clear here what we did. First of all, this is correct. It should be green. Why? We are extracting the color value here, which is green. However, after that we say our update. Well, once we extract the color and display that color, then we say let's update this in our chart. Once we updated it, this has already been extracted with the color green, and then it becomes updated here, and that's why you see this. So if you would change this here down and first put this here, and we first rename the color black, and then we say let's extract the color. Now you will see black is being displayed. There you are. Now it starts to be displayed this color. Very, very useful. Alright, so now we have this. Let's do something more. What can we do here? Well, we can extract the color. We have the background color. We can put in items here as well. Or let's adjust black. Instead of 5, if we make a value of 100. So we can do exactly the same here. We can say here now, let's look at this. We will just extract here. We say my chart, and then let's try from our codes here. What we know here is we go from my chart, then we go down to data, and then go to data sets, and then we select the index number 3, which is the 4th element. All right, so in my chart.data sets, remember we are in the first element, which is data set 0, index 0, dot data, and then which item do we want in here? Well, we want this index number 3. So we say index 3, and then we say equal, we can do here 100. As this is a number value, not a string, so no need to have quotation, save this and refresh, and now we have a huge spike to 100. And this is how we play around with that. So let's do something more. Can we adjust the color? Yes, of course we can adjust the color. Same structure here as well. To understand the color, how do you get the color? From my chart, we go to data, then we go to data sets, and then we look here at border color, background color. All right. So what we can do is here, we can say the border color is, instead of this is red or reddish, let's change that to green. So we do the same structure. My chart, let's go back here, my chart dot data sets, all right, index 0, and then we say border color. We say dot border color. And here's something very important. Let's look at this. So we have here the border color, and this is an array right now. We can remove this to make it not an array. So now it's not an array, now it's just a string. And what does it mean? What's the difference between a string and an array? Well, let me be clear here. Let's copy this and let's put in here some values that is different. So we say here blue, and after that we will say black. And how many colors we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so 6 colors. So let's make here another one. We say yellow, and we have here purple, and finally we do green. All right, so now we have 6 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 colors in the array. So if we save this here, let's refresh. All right, so it gives you the color. You can see now here you have the border color has changed here, and it's specifically on the border point radius. All right, so what we're going to do here is now let's assign the border color. Specifically, if you want specifically for our black, this should be, instead of yellow, should be black. Let's say here number 3. So this is number 3. We put in here, then we say here equal, let's say equal what? Well, remember it's a color, so we say black. All right, so once we did that, now you can see our color has adjusted from yellow to black, which is correct, and that's the way we do it. But this, of course, is in an array. If there's no array, all we have to do is we have to remove all of this. We assign this, because this right now might create some conflicts. If we refresh this here, it does work, it does override, but basically there's an indirect conflict here. What I would recommend here is to remove this, or you could remove that, or just only put a single color here. Black. Well, let's make this red. Remove our items here, so that this is just clearly a single value, not an array. Refresh here. As you can see, it loads first in red and then it converts to black. Let's refresh one more time. As you can see, in a very short time frame. So this is basically how you can play around. You can see here now it becomes that beautifully. All right. So with this, you can do also a few more items here. We can work with the arrays. We can even push these colors. So let's say instead of this, you will say, well, we want to give it this array. We're going to make this an array. Where are we? The background of a border color. We're going to create an array. This is red, and now we're going to push the black in here. So what happens if we push the black? There will be basically a second value, which is black. That's what happens. So let's save this. We do push black, and then it will update here. Save this. Refresh. And while we push it, does it really push border color? Dataset push black. So let's check here the array border color. Did we put everything here? Let's double check if this works or why it doesn't respond. So we can copy all of this border color. Then we say here console.log, open up and closing here the parentheses, semicolon here. All right, save this. All right, so let's double check what's going on here. We get an array. We get an array and we push this, and then we have the length. All right, we have this. We have push. So what happened here is basically we need to update this. Is this being recognized? All right, so I just did a quick Google to figure out why was this not working. Apparently, I did the wrong item here. This should be a push like that. There you are. So the moment you push, you have to put it in brackets, basically. All right. So once you do that and you refresh, you can see now the red one becomes, or the first one becomes red. Then you have the black here. As you can see, this border is now black. However, as you can see very clearly, it starts to alternate itself. And this is a new function in chart.js where you can alternate automatically just by adding only 2 values. So basically, if you would add on another one, let's say here, and then after we push this, we want to push another item. We're going to push this, and this will be green. We save this, refresh. You can see now an alternating between red, black, and green. And then again, it starts to reset to red, black, and green. This will only work as long as there's more values here compared to the background color or compared to the border color, which is set in an array. If you only want a single value, put 1 in the array or remove these brackets here. Very, very important. But this is really how you can play around with it, and you can use some nice fancy stuff with that to make it more and more advanced. However, these are really important, but what we can do as well is that before we continue on, let's do, instead of this, let's say we have here black, and then we have blue, all right? But maybe we don't want these here. So for example, what happens now if we save this and I just comment these out, refresh here, you can see now it's set up clearly, but we want to remove maybe the black item here. Yes, so what we need to do is we have to remove it, or we want to remove all these colors here. Let's remove that one. So what we can do is we can use pop. Let's go here, and then we say here this, and then we just remove this, we say pop. There we are. So the moment we do this, we save this, what happens, we're going to remove a single value here. As you can see here, if you look carefully, it first becomes blue, this one, and then after it turns to red. I hope you can see that. However, if you don't worry, let's pop one more time. What happens with pop is you remove the last value out of it. So what we're doing here is basically, first we have three items in the array, then you pop one, that means that the last value, which would be the blue item, will be removed, will be popped away. So basically they pop that balloon or something like that. That's why they call it a pop. It explodes out of it. Fair enough. Once it does, then you only have 2 values in the array. But then we use again another pop command, meaning that red and black, for red and black, we first pop out this one, blue will be gone, and then after black will be gone, we will leave it with red. Let's look at it, how it works. Let's save that, refresh. As you can see now, everything is red. And then let's do something more fun. Once we have this, finally, we will assign a single value. We will say then, this equals, let's use brown. That's a nice color to see the contrast. So refresh, and then you can see here suddenly it becomes brown. Oh, it's quite hard to see. Let's give it purple, that might be more clear. Refresh, and then suddenly it went from red, it went to purple. There you are. So this is really how you can play around with it. These are very useful commands: shift, pop, push, and unshift. I will talk next time about these things because I'm continuing very long with this video. However, this will help you. These are really solid items to know, and this is really fun to have as well. So you can see here, this is really the fun of chart.js, knowing how to work with the arrays, to modify the arrays, to update the chart itself with single codes and commands. All right. So if you have any questions, put them in the comment section below. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you enjoy this video, you probably will enjoy this one as well. And if you're interested in ChartJS, check out in the description box the link directing to my ChartJS course where you can learn everything about ChartJS. And finally, of course, make sure you subscribe to my channel.